Hey everybody, the turbo lift doors have opened. You're stepping out onto Deck 10 with me, Matt. And, Captain Matt, congratulations on the promotion, sir. Look at that.
Temporary. We'll wait until the next disaster.
Like a field promotion type of
Yeah.
deal. The captain is out of commission, and they're like, transfer all security codes to Captain Matt right now. And, it happens, and it's, what, Alpha Pi Tango is the, just some
Forgot
sort
to
of,
write that down.
it's some sort of, and so now you can't give the command back to the original captain. I see what you're doing. This is a Boimler move. This is a Boimler. Oh, I can't relinquish control of this ship. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
You know what? Until you just said that, I really want to see a post-it on the command chair in lower decks that has like the command code on
it. That's a total lower deck move. I think we should do that. We should aim for that. I want you to let's just write it. All right. Let's send Star Trek so many letters of suggestion and fully written, detailed episode plotlines, synopsises, and dialogue that they have no choice but to open the doors once again to fan writing. Can you imagine that? We can't do that anymore. Star Trek is way too serialized for a fan to send in a Monster of the Week episode romp, you know?
You never know.
Just and then without 24 episode slots to fill anymore, because come on, can you imagine 24 Strange New Worlds? I would love that so much.
Oh my gosh, I'm as much as I love the availability of streaming and getting content from all these different places. It kills me though. It's like, and Doctor Who kind of tempered me on this a little bit with their like, oh, it's going to be an 8 episode series and you'll love it. But the I just can't believe that all this epicness that has been happening in season 3 of Picard, and we're halfway through the final season.
Oh my God, 5 episodes down, 5 to go.
No.
We've left the first, so chapter 1 of this season has come to an end. We are flipping the page. Here comes chapter 2, entitled "What the Hell, Jack Crusher?" I don't.
That could have been the season title.
What's going on with this crazy fool? Is the tagline for Picard season 3, and then all encompassing. What I want to say at this point, midway through Star Trek Picard season 3. One, I talked about this briefly before we came on the air about how angry I am that we didn't have this quality of a Picard adventure for the first 2 seasons. I get what they did. I appreciated what they did. They told their poetic tales. They let old man Patrick Stewart, come to whatever catharsis he needed and whatever trauma he was trying to work out in his personal life. Thank you very much for that. It introduced us to Rafi. We got to see Hugh. 7 of 9 is back. I mean, such positives from the first 2 seasons. However, in comparison to excitement, intensity, my desire to get on with it to the next episode, those 2 seasons pale in comparison to what is being brought this year.
We're seeing season 8 of Next Gen, grand finale.
Which is what they said they weren't going to do, but they were lying. They said, what, we're going to make like 2 more Next Generation movies and split them up. And you know what we're going to do? We're also going to take a bunch of visual and musical inspiration from the Wrath of Khan because we love that thing.
Oh my gosh, yes. By the way, I wanted to point out earlier in one of our videos, I had mentioned my frustration of not seeing the inclusion of Michael Okuda in the design. And again, he put the template out there. Yeah. So obviously, there's other artists, but I've been seeing posts from him showing, here's what I did here and here's what we did here.
Okay.
So I'm going to blame IMDb for not being up to date.
Okay.
And I've even noticed that in some other shows, other genres and stuff like that. It's like, I just spoke to this actor or I just spoke to this agent and I know this project is coming up. They made the announcement 2 days ago, and it's not on IMDb, and it's
Uh-huh.
like I'm frustrated. So anyway,
Come on, internet. Why aren't you
I know,
instantaneously correct?
I
Why
know.
isn't
It's
there some dork out there just immediately watching every channel of TV and interview that's being happening and just updating Wikipedia right
I
now?
don't miss having to wait 2-3 weeks for a fan newsletter to be mailed to my house
Oh my
back
god.
in the 90s to
Yeah.
find this stuff out.
I miss that kind of stuff. My fandom started on AOL, keyword Trek in the chat rooms and stuff.
Hmm.
That's I was like 12 or whatever when all that stuff came out. So that's when I started to engage with the greater world out there. And then that became message boards for the show Lost.
Oh my
I don't know
gosh.
if you are a huge fan of Lost or not, and if you are, I love you. And if you're not, move on.
Peripherally, I liked what they did and what they introduced to television.
Yeah,
I did
good
not
stuff.
watch every episode.
Well, maybe that's our next show. I'll force you to watch the whole thing. Um, so message boards, and those were a little more instantaneous, but the theories, oh my god, were wildly incorrect. Uh, People have gotten better at guessing things. But I need to guess about Jack Crusher. What's
Hmm.
going on with that crazy guy? All right, we can narrow the scope here. We're going to talk about episode 5. What was it called? Imposters, I think it was the
Yes.
name of it. And the feeling at the end of this episode, at the midpoint of Picard season 3, the main thing I wanted to say is they are successful at making me wonder just who's a changeling.
Oh, yeah.
It could be anybody, except for Picard and Riker, in my feeling. It could be anybody else.
Yeah. They more so than when we were dealing with the Dominion War and Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Now it's like that person's they're a changeling. They're a changeling. Wait, maybe.
I went back and forth so many times with Rowe as
Oh
to
yeah.
whether or not she was or was not. It was insane, the ride that I was on.
Uh huh. And I'm
It
pretty
was
certain they
masterful. Who
knew
wrote
what
this thing?
they
Who wrote this thing? I don't even know. They deserve kudos because it was, I don't know if it was the editing, the writing, the directing, the acting, or all of the above when it came to the to and fro, the back and forth of she's a changeling, she's not. Because you come in, I don't assume she is. We learn a little bit more, she might be. Learn a little more intensity, no earring, all this kind of stuff that's stacked. You're like, oh my god, she's a changeling. She pulls the gun. She's definitely a changeling. We get to the holodeck, nah,
Mm-hmm.
she ain't. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't know what else to say. That's the podcast. Thanks for joining us, folks.
There we go. Before we get too far in, one of the things due to the algorithm, one of the things I've been seeing a lot more fan reviews of Picard than I did in previous seasons.
Uh-huh.
So I've been watching a few of them,
Yeah.
and everybody has their own takes and stuff like that. Um, I think it's a wonderful reinforcement of the whole IDIC uh, philosophy when it comes to the fans,
Yeah.
because so many different people take so many different things from the show and from the series franchise, and it's wonderful. It's like I was watching a couple of them, and I'm like, oh, I never would have thought of that, just because that's not their life experience isn't my life experience.
Totally.
So it's but I just find it interesting that we're seeing there's so many more reviews talking about this season than the previous 2 seasons. So clearly, um, I don't know if it was the writers wanted to do this from season 1 and were told they couldn't,
I
or
think that we
they
need to do
knew
a
they were
slower paced show about androids and data.
they knew they were going to do this, and they needed to put in this huge anticipation to get it.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. It was the whole thing, just the master manipulation of the Trek fans.
Yeah.
Rile them up to satisfy them. You
Yes.
know, give them those angry emotions before making it better, because then the sweetness is better. I don't know, but so far I'm with it. I'm with it.
It's all about how you manage those grapes. So
Yeah. I mean, I try to keep them as not sour as possible. I want to keep them fresh and juicy and sweet grapes, not sour ones. You
mhm.
know, Captain
Well,
Liam
you
Shaw, I
know
hope
what?
you're listening. All
If
right,
you
keep
didn't
those.
have those sour grapes, you wouldn't appreciate the sweet ones.
Yeah,
So
well, that's true.
as much.
That's true. That's true. But Captain Liam Shaw, he needs to take, a grape lesson or two. All right. Even after that adventure, he's like, oh yeah, I already called Starfleet. They're on their way.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna walk out while y'all get your story
Yeah,
straight.
you figure out how you're gonna lie about it, but I did my part. Starfleet's on its way. Because he's just, I like that he didn't become a friend. There's just something about Liam Shaw that I'm into. I like him. I like the character. I don't know if it's a me thing because I like to heal in wrestling. I've always liked a good redemption story. I thought that the evil queen in Once Upon a Time was the most fascinating character that they had
Oh
put
no,
out there.
yes, yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if it's just the character type that I'm drawn to, is just kind of like the badass that always has to do the right thing, or if it's just because Liam Shaw's amazing. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not that deep into how I think, but I'm very disconnected with my emotions. Uh, anyway, I love him. He's amazing. I want to start every podcast talking about Liam Shaw. His beard is amazing. I think he's kind of handsome. He and Titus Welliver could play brothers on something. Uh, they really could. Uh, my goodness. My goodness.
I, the,
And he gets sucked right in, man.
actor says he's and I haven't watched his interview with Will.
Okay.
We haven't watched that one yet. I'll have to grab something in a minute, but I'll get back to that. But the way he can just sigh in a moment, and his character has said so much. He's just done a wonderful job of playing this dipshit from Chicago.
Right.
That, like I said, yeah, when they first introduced him, I'm like, throw him out an airlock. But he's playing this part so well,
Yeah,
and
he really grows
I
with it.
now can't let him go.
No. Now I'm going to be sad when he dies. Before I'd have been like, yeah, now
Yeah.
Riker's in control. Get that asshole out of there. But now I'm like, oh no, not Liam. You have a future. You have a future wife to have, children to raise. I want you to die an old man, warm in your bed, like in Titanic. That kind of stuff. That's what I want for you. So I hope that's the case. I imagine, I don't know, somebody's gonna pop up as a changeling soon enough, and they're gonna find some body in a closet. I don't know.
Well, they did. Not
Again, they're
again.
going to do it again, but somebody we know. Somebody we know.
What was that? The I'm blanking on the name. The actor.
That one that kept on showing a bunch of times. I don't remember.
There was when Picard and Riker first came on board the Titan,
Yeah,
and one of the ensigns there, the actor, I recognized him from
yeah,
Supernatural.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, they found him in a closet.
Right. But we don't know his name. I didn't know his name. I'm sure they said his name. He has a name. I'm
Yes,
sure it's out there. I'm sure somebody knows it. Leave it in the comments. I don't know what it is.
yes,
It's
yes,
fine.
yes.
It's fine. But Shaw, he keeps on getting sucked into this thing, and even at the end of this episode, when they're like, "Okay, so we gotta run," and he's like, "What? What? No, let's go. Let Liam. Hello, Earth to Liam. Let's go." And he's like, "God."
You noticed I put a few things in about missed opportunities.
Yeah. Down here at the bottom, missed opportunities. You want to talk about those now, or do you
Are
want
we
to
gonna?
build it up? We can start
We
from the
can.
end and go backwards. I don't know. We have no structure here on any sort.
No,
If you're on
no,
the
not at
10th
all.
floor with my mom, there's no structure. If you're here on deck 10, it's like that episode of Voyager Shattered, where you just
Oh
walk into
yeah.
different time
As
periods
long as I
and
don't start,
and then
yeah,
so there's that one
morphing.
episode where the ship was twisting in on itself,
Yes,
where you'd walk onto like deck 10, but you'd really like be in sick bay. uh
I've had some really bad flus that
yeah,
felt like that.
there you go, so that's the experience you're gonna get here on
Where
deck 10.
I couldn't understand other people and they couldn't understand me. So
It's part of the charm. You
yeah,
just know it's a real live conversation is what it is. I don't like structure. Write something down. It's not for me. Anyway, we could talk about that. Missed opportunities. It says Picard maneuver.
ah,
Let's
I
talk
was
about the Picard maneuver,
so
man.
waiting. I was so waiting for them to jump right past the Intrepid and
Yeah.
fire aft torpedoes,
Uh-huh.
pew, and then fly off.
Oh,
And
that
they
would have been
didn't do
good.
it.
That would have been good. Oh. Well, you know, they had to, they decided, let's bring on this character. Let's lead up to the dramatic sacrifice.
Well,
It
I
was a
didn't
narrative
like that they
decision.
did that, but they could have still done that. I saw that Terry Metalis had posted. Um, he's been loving the commentary of the Intrepid rising up from that hit.
Yeah.
Um, that you know there was a lot of intention in that scene.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Okay.
But anyway, I just again, we're doing all these throwbacks. Oh, and
It's very
to talk
nautical.
about throwbacks,
Yeah.
the Intrepid is raising shields. We see little dots, and I was loving it.
You know, I'm no stranger to the original series movies. I watched those a lot when I was a teenager. My mom got them on VHS for me at the local Food Max. They had a VHS section, and every couple of weeks she'd come back with another Star Trek tape for me. And so I would watch it. I would devour these movies, these original series movies. It was my only access to that cast, that crew, those stories and stuff. This was before streaming. Yeah, I couldn't log on to Paramount Plus and watch the original series. I had to wait for a marathon on UPN or something like that in order to watch it. And by then, this was the late 90s. It was already inaccessible to my young teenage mind when it came to just how hokey it is. You know, so those movies I'm very familiar with the visuals, the stories, the music especially, and there is so much reference in Picard season 3. We talk about it every week. You guys are here for it. You guys know Star Trek if you're watching this thing. You you see them too. And my big question when I was 13 years old, seeing this graphic of the going around the ship was, how long does it take to raise shields? And does it start on this side? And
Yeah.
then
Once next gen came along, I think they more established the whole concept of it's a bubble.
yeah, yeah.
Um, whereas before, they didn't really quite put a geographical concept in
I
it.
think it's just a showcase of the time in which the thing was made. You know, in Next Generation times, Deep Space Nine, Voyager time, it's much easier to animate a bubble going like this,
Hmm.
around another animated graphic of a starship than it was back in, you know, the 80s. Not impossible, but more difficult. But whatever, I wasn't there for that. So that was I see what you're saying there with the Picard maneuver. There's something, maybe later. Maybe later they'll pull that out. They can't pull that out all the time, you know?
Yeah. And again, something else I commented on was, and we'll get to it, but
Mm-hmm.
um, we're only seeing what they're showing us.
Yes.
So we don't know what was shot, what was written,
Mm-hmm.
and what gets cut for whatever
Yeah.
reason, whether it's, you know, Joe from CGI was out sick that week and we couldn't pull off the effect,
Right.
or whether it was like, we can tell this awesome story, or we can spend that time and invest $2 million into this effect,
Or
which is more important for the current
yeah.
show.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. All right, you can have the Picard maneuver, or you can kill Rowe. Pick one. All right, we're gonna kill Rowe. We're gonna go for the dramatic ending.
spoiler.
What? Why are you here? If you haven't watched the episode, why are you here? uh,
Speaking of, I don't know if visceral is the right word, but there was a real deep down bone level reaction when Picard opens his hand and it's the earring. And it's like, I remember when Deep Space Nine was first airing, I was going to some of these small conventions
mhm.
and like every dealer had the earrings.
Yeah.
And it was that earring. And I went back and watched Preemptive Strike, which was Michelle Forbes, Rowe Laren, last appearance in Next
I
Gen.
believe it was the
And
penultimate episode of the entire series as
it was
well.
right before, yeah, it was literally right before All Good Things.
Yeah, it was the last thing that Picard did.
Yeah.
Other
And
than
so,
save the universe.
yeah.
Anyway.
So, or, Yeah, we'll get to that one too. Um, but yeah, it was that original design. I remember that like half moon kind of ringed whatever design.
Yeah.
I probably even owned it at one point. I probably bought it at a Star Trek convention and had it for a bit. Um, but just to see that old design, again, that's not what Rowe wore
Hmm.
in the last time we saw her. But again, things
It's
change.
been 30 years or something.
But it was just to see that old design. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I
Well, I
loved it.
mean,
I loved it
immediately
so much.
recognizable as a Bajoran earring. If you're even remotely familiar with Deep Space Nine, you know exactly what a Bajoran earring looks like.
Yes.
They could have anybody dangling one of those things in front of anybody else, and people who know what it is be like, "Oh, it's a Bajoran earring." So not wearing it, I don't know. I don't know if I got a satisfactory answer to why she wasn't. So I made up at the end she wasn't because she was holding the code in it. Was trying to keep it safe.
Yeah, maybe. It could have been. It could have been a. How long is it going to take Picard to pick up on the fact that I'm not wearing this freaking thing?
Uh huh.
Um, the not as a. I'm not who I say I am. The fact that something's up,
Yeah.
and you
Something's
need
up.
to notice why that I don't have this on
This
when
is
you know
a
it's such an important thing.
this is a thing. This is something that
Yes.
I should, this is my signal. It's like if it's like
Yes.
Terminator 2, how's Sparky? Oh, Sparky's fine. Your parents are dead, you know. I know what you're talking about. Or, she also talked about, rehab and all that kind of stuff. So it's entirely possible they just pushed Starfleet ideals so deep into her psyche that she's like, no, I don't need to wear this thing because Starfleet's my overlord now. F the
Yeah,
prophets.
it's the second time she would have gone through this rigorous rehabilitation
Mm-hmm.
slash what did they call it the first time? The special
Uh,
training she received when they reintroduced her character in
yeah.
Next Gen.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's been through lots of trainings. Um, I'm
Starfleet
sure that
style.
has had some effect on her uh,
I
personality.
would imagine so. I would think so.
So,
Oh God, oh poor Rowe. Oh man, but it was cool to see her. I like Michelle Forbes. I like the
oh,
Rowe
that
character.
was a definite.
I
Soon
didn't
as we
expect it.
rounded the corner, that was a definite.
I did not expect
Because
to see
I
it.
wasn't expecting it,
Mm-mm.
and also
On top
the
of
last
that,
time I saw her,
yeah.
she was on True Blood,
Oh, okay.
Michelle Forbes, and definitely a different character, uh,
Uh,
and someone you do not underestimate for completely different reasons.
mm-hmm.
So it was just so wonderful to see her. Plus, she was one of the first actors that I got to meet at a Star Trek
Oh,
convention.
that's nice. That's nice.
So the and at the time she took her coffee with a little bit of cream, um,
Oh, hey.
because I was working security and my job was to try and find a cup of coffee for her.
Just one
But anyway,
cup of black coffee, just a little bit of cream, no
yeah,
sugar. If it
yeah.
comes back sweet, I'm gonna kick your.
Who knows what would have happened to me? I might not
Oh
even be here
God.
today.
No, outside of Trek, Michelle Forbes, I see she was in Lost. She was in a couple
Mm-hmm.
episodes of Lost, and then Battlestar Galactica,
Mm-hmm.
which I can't say that I was like flashing back to while watching this, but I feel like a lot of the sternness and same kind of characterization ishness existed here between Commander Laren, Commander Rowe, and whoever the hell she played on Battlestar Galactica. When it just not as bad, she's not going to turn around and try to kill everybody for her. She's the opposite. She killed herself for everybody, but um, just I don't know. I like her, and she just seems like she can kick your butt, and I think that's the whole point I was trying to make. You
Yeah.
know, she just does. When it comes to Bajorn, who was fighting for their freedom and then came to all that kind of stuff, oh my god. Laren, you set the standard that Kira Nerys, like, stood on top of, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. The two things there. So one, another missed opportunity. I so wanted to see Picard pull out that rifle from behind Guinan's bar that we saw in Next Gen, where she's like, "Anyone want to see Setting 2?" I
Uh-huh.
It was such a clunky. I'm sorry to the prop people, but it was such a clunky prop. But I really wanted to see that throwback instead of just another phaser.
Yeah.
you know, and the phaser looked cool. It was cool. By the way, that thin opening in front of those phasers again throws me back to Wrath of Khan, because we had a close up of when um, I forget who it was that fired the shot, but when the oh, my crap is showing up in the background. Ignore that. Um, when Chekhov goes down
Yeah.
in the science station and they shoot the bug.
Yeah, they shoot the little earworm.
Yeah, the design of that phaser was very similar.
Yeah.
So I didn't miss that. I noticed that.
They take a lot of it from Khan, man. A lot of it.
Yeah, yeah. So, but
But,
anyway,
if you're going to reference something, you reference Rapid Khan, gosh darn it.
yeah. Again, it wasn't my favorite, but I recognize its the success it
Mm-hmm.
had.
Yeah.
It was a phenomenal film. The so the rifle, I really wanted to see that. That didn't happen.
I'm good.
What was the other thing that I had?
Let's see. You wrote down Shuttle Explodes, missed op. Picard Maneuver, missed op.
Yeah. Oh, so we get to that point where it's like we were reintroduced to a character
Yeah.
that we loved, and we're happy to see her. And now she has to sacrifice herself because it's just she's in a no-win situation.
Because they know we know.
Yeah. Um, there was, again, going back to what I said earlier about seeing a lot of different fans talk about their takeaways
Mm-hmm.
from the series and others previous, but the I think there would have been an awesome moment where the shuttle explodes, hitting the Intrepid, and Picard could have whispered Laren, and it would have been such a much more intimate moment. How they went about explaining the intimacy and the relationship between Rowe and Picard, it was fine. I was okay with it. But other people were noting it's like, you know, Jean-Luc calls and Will, they call each other by their first name in intense moments. Voyager had a whole thing about it with the Equinox.
Uh-huh.
Almost forgot.
They go with their Starfleet training.
Yeah, where it's like dropping protocol and
Yeah.
in intense moments, using each other's personal names as opposed to rank and last name and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but I just thought it was it was a missed opportunity where they could have shown that there was a little bit of a father element from Picard to Rowe, but there was also a slight, romantic
Ew.
connection kind of thing. Don't want to make it weird. Don't want to make it weird. Not going there. But there was definitely a unique bond.
You just
And
say well, I mean, it's weird with the Bajoran thing, but a given name basis
yeah,
rather than a constant row. I don't know. I guess I wasn't there for I'm a Deep Space Nine Voyager guy when it comes to when I was watching the things that were being broadcast live. Just a little too young to invest in the relationships on the Next Generation when it was on television the first time. Now I can, but I think I don't know. I think I missed it. Just the like, I get it. They did a wonderful job explaining what they've been through together on the Next Generation, and then how they felt about how it ended, and how they felt about the time that has passed since then. They did a great job in that hour of just really servicing that relationship in a way to really give this ending a satisfying conclusion, where it isn't just like, oh, look at this character's back and we're gonna kill him.
yeah. Well, again, going back to everything they've done, because we still haven't seen Jordy, we still haven't seen Deanna in person.
In person.
So, but the this whole Picard, I won't say allowed. That's not the right word. Allowed himself not to be invested in his former crew's last 3 decades.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they all, went on and lived their lives in various ways. So again, this is another one of those where it's like clearly Rowe Laren meant something to Picard, but he wasn't really keeping up with her.
Well, I mean, but he also felt so beyond betrayed.
Yeah.
I've
Oh
never
yeah.
seen
Oh, the whole, I've
Picard
been
hold on.
practicing this speech for 30 years.
Like I've never seen Picard hold on to a grudge for so long. Um, so I mean, it really hurt him to his core, even
Yeah.
more than Beverly keeping a baby from him.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
he wasn't like, Beverly, I hate you. I can't believe you did this to me. For days, they had a
yeah.
soft-spoken conversation about the emotionality about it. He forgave Beverly way faster, and then he forgave Rowe Laren. What the heck? Whatever. Good stuff. Good stuff. But so much more happened in this episode than just Rowe.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I want to correct a previous mistake that I
All right.
made regarding Worf's blade.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and looked it up, and sorry, my notes have shifted.
Oh wait,
It was
here
a
it is.
Kurleth.
Kurleth. I get because I heard there was a new blade, but I wasn't going to
Yeah,
challenge you on it.
and I went back and looked, and there's some similarities,
Mm-hmm.
but to us, dumb humans, we
Humans.
don't see the finesse when it comes to the art of battle of with the Klingons.
Yeah, it's true. Especially those so far away from it, like Matt and myself. I don't, I don't foresee either one of us going to war anytime soon. Um,
I did like, and it was developed. The Kurlith was developed by an artist that had done other Klingon
okay,
weapons
okay,
for
I'm with
Next
it. I'm with it.
Gen. Curry, I think, was his
Mm-hmm.
last name. But the I loved the battle, the sparring between Rafi and Worf,
Mm-hmm.
and I was even kind of noticing some similar moves that Worf had used with the Batleth, but he was using with this new weapon.
It's people who know how to use weaponry and stuff. There's a fluidity of movement.
Mhm.
There's an understanding of just movement in general. I don't know
Yeah.
what the words are, but basically, it's like that guy from Forged in Fire, that blade thing. And Keel. I don't remember anybody's name. I'm just terrible at this. I'm a bad podcaster. Anyway, you could put a weapon in any trained person's hand, and they movements are very similar between each one of
Mhm.
them. It's pretty natural to somebody who knows what they're doing. Um, so that makes a lot of sense. That's really cool. I'm not one to pick up on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The stunts in this season, and particularly this last episode, oh my gosh, are amazing. The I couldn't find it, but this the moment where Rafi comes for Worf while they're sparring, and he's just like blocking everything and just so casual. And I know we've seen that somewhere else, and I couldn't remember. And at first, I was thinking, oh, it's got to be a Princess Bride thing, just because of the way they intertwined comedy and drama
Uh-huh.
in that. And I went and looked, and was like, no, not quite. Um, but I want to say we've seen somewhere where someone was defending themselves expertly but very casually, and
Uh-huh.
I couldn't find it, but I really
I
appreciated it.
imagine it's a common trope that's been done again and again. One of those
Yeah,
things like how do you isolate the first one? Well, the first one was done in 1912. Uh, you know.
there.
So yeah, in there we're still on Natalis Prime. Metalis Prime, right? We're still there, but that's where Rafi and Worf are. Going back to the place where they killed Sneed, because they need to
Yeah,
find this Vulcan gangster, which I appreciate the imagination of this season so much.
yeah.
Like,
We're seeing a new set of Vulcans that we've never seen before, and if we were in the Kelvin timeline,
mhm.
I'm sorry, I know I just divided the room, but anyway, if we were in the Kelvin timeline, I could kind of understand a new portrayal,
Yeah.
but that's over there in that reality. But like even when they introduced was it Tavine?
Tavine, I believe the name was.
Yeah. I'm like,
Which is a
is she
girl's name, by the
Romulan?
way.
What?
Which is a girl's name, by the way.
No, well, Um,
According to okay, here okay, I'm not gonna gender it like that. Of course, anybody can have any name. I'm being silly.
I'm
But
talking about the
to
bridge officer from
oh okay,
Titan.
yeah,
So
okay. I'm sorry then.
the gendering may match up, but I
Okay,
just wasn't sure where you're going with
gotcha.
that.
I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about the gangster guy. What was
No,
his
not
name?
yet.
Oh, I'm
His
sorry.
name
We're
is
totally on different levels then. I'm with you
sorry,
now though. We shifted
Kryn,
it because Crean.
Kryn or Kreen
Kryn.
or something
Okay, all right.
is
My
the
apologies, people. Leave a comment about how mad you are at me.
um.
uh,
But anyway, oh, by the way,
yeah,
the actor. Okay, so yes, it was Kryn. The actor Kirk Acevedo. I hope I'm saying that correctly.
he's Arrow guy, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Diaz.
yeah.
And soon as he came on, I'm like, I
Yeah.
love him. I love the characters he's played. He was also on Grimm, and he was on Agents.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
love. But
Okay,
yeah,
but we're back. I'm back on board. Okay, we're talking about Tavine. We're talking about the science officer, communications person, whatever
yeah,
she plays on the bridge. I know what you're talking about. She's the spunky Vulcan, the spunky bald Vulcan. I know what you're talking about now. I'm with you.
in the past it's been very polarized about this is what a Vulcan looks and sounds like. This is what a Romulan looks and sounds like. And their haircuts might be a little bit similar, but there's definitely a different expectation. So yeah, when they introduce someone with pointy ears and high arched eyebrows,
Uh huh.
I'm not sure what to expect right now. Um,
Half something else.
yeah,
Half
so
Katarian.
so the fact that they bring in Kryn on Metalis Prime, and again right away I'm thinking, oh, it's like must be a Romulan
Yeah.
because they're sneaky and they're manipulative, and it's
No,
like
I'm a
no,
Vulcan.
this is a Vulcan that understands the logic of a criminal element.
So love the like I said, I really appreciate the imagination of Picard season 3 when it comes to these approaches, because they do it, and then they also respect the hell out of it at the same time, because I put myself in the room. It's what I do, but I could put myself in the room having this discussion. We're gonna have a gangster. Let's make him a Vulcan gangster. Okay, well, why is a Vulcan the gangster? And then they come up with the answer and they make sure to put it into the episode. So we're not going, well, this is stupid. They're just doing whatever they want. He's like, the logic of paradise means that there has to be criminal. What I do is
Yes,
perfectly logical.
and again
Oh my God.
he's wearing the idic symbol,
Yeah. Infinite
and it's
diversity.
like what part of infinite
Yeah.
do we not get?
It's not not just infinite positive diversity.
Yes, yes.
That's good. And then on top of that, the portrayal of this character as well. I really have to hand it to Kirk, last name. Um, I just don't know what it is. I gotta hand it to him because it was so controlled and so Vulcan, but he was able to put dynamics in his speech
Oh yeah.
that were logical but not emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Because how many I am playing a Vulcan actors have we gotten? When
Oh,
that's not what Leonard Nimoy did. Leonard Nimoy was dynamic in his speech patterns, but emotionless in his demeanor. I don't know if that
mhm.
even makes sense. But that's to me, that's what really brings a Vulcan out. I think Tuvok failed at that. Honestly, he was so robotic the whole time, just so even keeled in my opinion. Which maybe infinite diversity, right? All kinds of different types of Vulcans. Um,
That says well, it could say a lot about him just trying so hard.
Trying so hard.
Um,
Yeah.
that we didn't really, other than that weird virus that transcends generations.
Yeah.
We really didn't get an insight into his childhood and such. So
Yeah, when it comes to character development, Voyager probably did the least of it.
yeah.
And it is what it is. It's not a heavy negative criticism. It's just a fact. But Tuvok, we got very just when it came to like lead character Vulcans that we've had on the show. Tuvok was very even, while Spock and T'Pol were much more dynamic.
By the way, I also appreciate uh, the actor Tim Russ.
Yes.
Some of his posts on social media have literally made me laugh out loud. And I just think that's so awesome coming from a performer who has portrayed
Yeah.
this extremely controlled, emotional person.
Just and he's such a big Star Trek fan too. I
Oh
mean, he
yeah,
did Voyager, and then he was ecstatic to play a Klingon in Deep Space Nine. He did the crossover into the mirror universe of Deep Space Nine as Tuvok. He was in Generations, right? He was bridge officer in Generations, or
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, something like that, or
Oh,
Star Trek Six. I don't remember which one.
okay, so we're jumping all over the place, but this is
Well, it's what we do. It's a
um,
twisted time anomaly ship here.
I loved dumping a saucer on a planet,
Oh
um,
yes.
throwing the Prime Directive out to snog a local, and he didn't say anti-time, but they
Uh-huh.
did say Devron.
Hmm.
Um, and then the whole,
That's what it
oh,
was. Cause you know me. I'm not gonna read anything. I'm gonna watch a YouTube video or two and then come here and just talk dirty. It is what it is.
but
But
I loved the fact that it's like y'all realize that you are largely responsible for creating the crises that you saved the galaxy from. So I loved that and he says the whole chicken and the egg thing, and
yes, yes.
I just love the casual response from Picard saying those were the days.
Those were the days. I thought that it was super hilarious too that all of those references came from the final episode and the movies of the Next Generation, which just goes to show how many rules they followed really through the major run.
And by the way, I just want to reinstate the saucer crashing into the planet was not Deanna's fault.
Yeah, it was.
No.
If you want to crash the ship, you put Deanna at the helm, okay?
They were doomed before she took the seat.
She could have found a way to, okay, here's the thing. Did she crash the ship? No, the shockwave crashed the ship. There was
Yes.
no way. It did knock the engines out, put it in the gravity well of the planet. There was no way. There was no way. But what she did do was glide that thing into the softest landing she possibly could.
Well, she took that. She took that officer training, command training,
And we know from the
it's like
shot.
your first priority is to the ship and to save the ship and its crew, and she did.
She did just
The
that.
best
She
job
hopped
she
right
could.
into that helmsman seat, and we saw from that shot of it crashing and the view screen of all the dirt coming, all that kind of stuff. She was still there, holding
Yep.
on,
Yep.
but she was still behind that seat the entire time.
Yep.
More people could have died. That thing could have went straight down.
Yeah.
Everybody could have just went crashing on top of each other. There's just piles of bodies all across the saucer section of the Enterprise D. But Deanna Troi, she spared us from that.
Um, going back to Metalis, going back to Metalis Prime, going back to Kryn, or yeah, did it say is it Kryn? Yeah.
Sure.
Don't know if you caught it. Who's in Sneed's orbit?
Oh, so yeah. So
And
there's all
you
kinds of
being the
references.
DS9
Yeah.
super fanboy that you are.
I saw Brunt. I
Yes.
saw Terrell, which was on Deep Space Nine, I believe. I saw who else did I see come through? What? Oh God, there was one more, wasn't there?
Mourn!
Mourn. Oh yes, Mourn. I saw Mourn and I thought he got out of the game years ago. What the hell?
You might be doing some consulting.
Maybe.
I would have loved to. I would have
He had
loved
all
to have
that
seen a
latinum in
scene
his
where
stomach.
Mourn
He
was
doesn't
just in
even
the
work
background
anymore.
going.
Just oh man, Mourn, what a character. No, he was created because they liked Cheers. They're like,
Oh
we
yeah.
need to have the barfly, the one that's just
Yep.
always there, and then named him Mourn because it's a scrambling of the letters of Norm from Cheers.
Well, and what was it? What was the proper title? Was it Who Mourns for Mourn or something like
Yeah,
that?
that was the name of one of the episodes.
And it was the actor who was the unnamed or person at the bar
Uh-huh.
that they put in his seat.
Okay.
I
Okay.
loved that.
That's funny.
But anyway,
I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
funny.
yes.
Oh, so yeah, Mourn was in
So
there. So yeah, I think
I loved.
I think,
Now the only thing I
yeah,
understood what they were doing when they said Mourn of
uh,
Lesepia, or
yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm forgetting
he's
the
a
name of the planet.
Lesepian. That's the name of his
And
species.
they said Brunt of Ferenginar.
Ferenginar. Yeah.
I really wanted to see it say just Brunt FCA.
Well, here's the
Um,
thing though. Since Rom had been the Grand Nagus,
mhm.
I don't know if he still is. I don't know how long Ferengis live, and I don't know if he was assassinated for his crazy ideas or not. But it's entirely possible he dismantled the FCA, and that's why Brunt went into the criminal element.
Maybe, yeah, yeah.
Can we just
But
get Jeffrey Combs
I
back,
just
please?
loved the whole Brunt
Jeffrey?
FCA thing.
Jeffrey Combs, are you available to show up as one of your many characters in Picard Season 3? Because we haven't seen you at all in New Trek, and it would be great to see one Mr. Jeffrey Combs back on some Star Trek.
Well, there's rumor that other Voyagers may appear yet.
Oh, how many secrets are
And
they holding for this thing?
yeah, and so I don't know. And I was,
Was the doctor in the mobile emitter?
Yeah, yeah, maybe. That would seem to be the most realistic, is because he's the most portable. But they keep mentioning Janeway, but I don't think she's making. I don't think
No.
Kate Mulgrew is going to be making an
No,
appearance.
she's just connected to 7 of 9. You got to mention Janeway every once in a while with 7
Yeah.
of 9 around.
But and I think it was noted in an interview that they previously asked Beltran, Chakotay,
Oh yeah, I saw
on
this.
season 2, and he declined. But anyway, it came up in a recent interview. I still haven't tracked it down yet. That there may be another Voyager appearance coming up, and they meant a person from the show. So
Harry Kim, still an ensign.
I did see a thread talking about acting captain Harry Kim of Voyager B.
I could see somebody being at Daystrom. Somebody from Voyager being at Daystrom.
Yeah.
I want the Doctor. I just like the Doctor. I don't care if Robert Picardo is years older. I don't care. I don't care. Brent Spiner is years older. We still don't have him yet. We don't have Lore or Moriarty or anybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We haven't seen Lorne yet. We haven't seen Moriarty yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's coming though. That's coming.
Yeah.
That's coming. Which is why I knew that Worf was not going to die. I mean, she stabbed him, and I'm like, no, he's not dead, right?
That I knew they weren't
never
going
fell
to
for
do it, but at the same time, I was just like, oh.
Today is a good day to die.
Oh my gosh, it was so expected, but at the same time appreciated how that sequence played out and the dialogue.
I think it might have been one of those red herrings, just in case somebody found out, ooh, some classic character is going to die in this episode. They stab Worf before Rowe blows up, and people are like, Worf is dead. I can't believe they killed him in such a simple fashion, which is why I also knew that he wasn't dead. He's not just get stabbed by Rafi. Please.
By the way, and I didn't really pick up on it too much. I didn't put much into it until my second rewatch. And the Worf referring to her as Rafaela. No one else has referred to her as that.
No, he's exclusively referred to her as that as well.
Yeah, and I think that all played back into the Rafaela House of Musiker. It's been an honor. And again, it was just like that was kind of a misty moment for me.
Aww.
Just because of all of the times we've seen Worf through all of the shows, through all the stories and stuff like that. Just being so consistent with the portrayal of the character.
Yeah, very much so.
Such, and it's like, this is, that Worf saying this is the highest level of honor and respect that he can convey.
He's just gotten so Klingon, though. So Klingon. He didn't. He was never like Benjamin, House of Cisco. Like.
I do like the gray hair. It moves better.
Yeah, it's neat. It's neat. It doesn't quite match with Klingon aging, but I'm with it. I'm fine.
But
okay, Klingons live until like 175. Kang Kodos and Kor or something. Lived forever and even got their ridges back.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. We don't talk about that.
Okay, Koloth, not Kodos. Excuse me. I think Kodos is a Simpsons character.
But yeah, we talked about that. Oh my gosh. Again, jumping all over the place, but this was
so that was Worf and Rafi. That's what they did. They got in a couple of fights. Worf pretended to die, got some information, killed a bunch of people. Crane was like, "That's logical. I'm going to give you all of the information you need." And then they talked to Picard and Riker at the end. That's how we connected the two things. Boom. But there's more. My God, they crammed so much into this thing.
There was. Before I forget, I do want to put in where Riker says to Jack, "Nice shooting, kid,"
Uh-huh.
and it really made me go back to Ghostbusters, where they say, "Nice shooting, Tex."
I mean, all the way back to Star Wars, you know? Nice
Oh,
shooting,
that
kid.
too. Oh, yeah,
Don't get
yeah, yeah.
cocky.
So anyway, it was just one of those funny moments. I love how they're layering the drama and the comedy in this season.
I mean, I think that they really encapsulated the spirit of Riker and updated him to a modern day level of storytelling. I think they've really effectively done that with Riker, maybe more so than some other characters. I'm very curious about Jordy. All right, we got Jordy coming up. He has to be in the next episode. I don't know. I don't see any previews, but they got to be pushing through to Daystrom, and Jordy has to be at Daystrom. I don't understand. I don't know where else he would be in the galaxy when it comes to this story right now, if he's not at Daystrom.
Yeah.
And so with that, I would imagine that Lore and Moriarty are also at Daystrom, maybe being studied for something.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
You know,
I like that.
Jordy. Maybe Jordy has collected all of the living enemies of the next generation to study them. I don't know. I don't know exactly what, but that has to be coming. That has to be involved in the secrecy of Daystrom. What they don't want anybody to know. Why Rowe was even like, no, Worf, don't go there. Figure out another way, because going there is going to obviously get you killed.
Well, there's this introduction of Daystrom is protected by this AI.
Yes.
So going further into that, it's like we're getting more techie. So it would seem to be a natural way to introduce Geordi's character.
Well, I mean, yeah, he'd be pretty familiar with AI, being so familiar with data. Maybe
Yeah.
the only person or the best person for the job when it comes to plugging lore into their security system, being that AI that they're talking about.
I mean, Jordi LaForge would be the leading expert in Starfleet on positronic matrices as far as number of years.
And well, I
And
mean, the
he's
two other leading experts either died or became Borg, so yeah,
Yep.
uh, oh, Bruce Maddox. For that cameo in that first season for Bruce Maddox, I don't understand why they didn't just get the original actor.
I
Might as well. He was barely in the thing. Might as well have just
might
gotten
have
the
been a
guy.
dentist appointment conflict.
Like they're talking about missed opportunities. Just get that guy.
That
Unless he's
and
like
honestly, I
700
didn't.
pounds and like can't get up or something, and then I'll understand. But
But well, could have worked it in. But the
figured it out.
I did honestly. There were several episodes in, and I was not getting the Bruce Maddox connection.
Really? Okay.
And I just happened to, it's like just like any honorable Star Trek geek. I usually have Star Trek playing on a loop somewhere in the house
at some point in time,
and I happened to catch that episode. I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, and they said Maddox, and I was like, how did I not pick up on that 3 episodes ago?
It's all right. It's okay.
So
we love you anyway. Oh, well, okay, it's all right. We're the last little section, last little bit here of information of story. ABC stories here happening on Picard. 3 stories in one. Every one of them enthralling, and I'm interested in. And I'm checking the timeline to see how much more episode is left because I don't want it to be coming to an end. And I haven't done that in years. So, kudos, amazing.
yeah,
Let's keep it up. But we got the Changelings and Jack Crusher. All right. I don't know if they're connected in some way, but probably are. We've got anybody could be a changeling, and the most interesting development of it all, because it's the one that's been most informed so far. We still don't know what this red door thing is, but we do know that the changelings are slightly different than they had been before.
I can't believe I forgot. Okay, real quick.
Oh, yes.
So again, we're getting into not necessarily canonical stuff,
Okay.
but I forgot that there was, I think his name was Laz. He was one of the changelings that was sent out, just like Odo was.
Yeah, he was. That's part of Deep Space Nine.
So, but in Star Trek Online, the game, they picked up his character and he had created a new link.
Then that might entirely be possible plugged into this thing, because I do think that they consider Star Trek Online to be fairly canonized,
Sort of,
right?
they take from canon, but they don't necessarily contribute to it.
Okay, so it's like a sidestep from reality
Yeah,
where the main timeline is like, oh no, that was good. We're gonna use that. We're gonna
yeah.
incorporate that into here. Okay,
So I'm wondering if
there has to be
this.
a second link.
I had completely forgotten that Maddox, like, oh, I'm going to just chop off my hand so I can call home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so clearly she's something of a changeling,
She has to
but
be one of those new ones.
yeah. So I'm wondering if they're going to not necessarily pull Laws back in, but
Do something similar.
we've
There
established that
has
there's
to
a
be.
new link in the
Yes.
Alpha Quadrant
There's a
all this
second
time.
link in the Alpha
Yeah.
Quadrant. I don't know about all this time, but maybe it's entirely possible, because maybe they're not founders. Maybe they are just changelings.
So they don't have the Odo touch.
50 of the 100 changeling infants that were sent out into the galaxy found each other, made a
Yeah.
new link, went forth and multiplied. And I don't know, because you wrote in here evolution versus speciation.
Oh yeah, they talked that again. That's because of me listening to Space Talk and
No, I totally get it. I
aspects.
didn't like a Crusher being like, "Ooh, it's evolution," because evolution doesn't really happen like that. Where it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
here's this one, and then now suddenly they're this
yeah.
one." Like that's not how that works.
Speciation when you take when you take an organism and you remove it from its usual environment and put it in another environment. At some point, it's going to adapt to that environment, and that's what they call speciation.
Right.
So the word evolution just gets thrown around a lot, but honestly, I think most viewers will understand the word evolution more
Yeah.
than the term
I'm just not
speciation.
into
So
it. I'm not into that word. I will go with since the end of the Dominion War, this has been not even since the end of the Dominion War, but the founders and changelings are naturally avoidant of solids.
mhm.
It's baked into them as people, for whatever, it's part of their instincts is to avoid solids because they're dangerous. Um, and so I could see them for thousands and thousands and thousands of years working on getting better. And then after the Dominion War, they're like, "Oh my God, Starfleet was like one of the hardest enemies that we've ever had to deal with. They really figured out how to suss us out and figure this out. We need to push even further our abilities to avoid this level of detection because tech is growing beyond our abilities." But also at the same time, though, here's one other thing, and maybe this is just me being a nerd who is not able to accept things. Maybe I'm doing it too much. Maybe I'm taking it too seriously. But one time on Deep Space Nine, just once, Odo said, "If I were to turn into a rock, you scan me, you're gonna find a rock. If I were to turn into a bird, you scan me, you're gonna find a bird." So I don't quite understand this. Well, if you do an internal scan of a changeling, you can't see their organs. That part I don't like. That part I didn't understand. Maybe I'm missing something though.
I, I I think it was implied that when they take a form of a solid, a humanoid, that they're not mimicking the humanoid at 100% accuracy.
They should be.
Um, yeah, but I think that's that again. I don't think that was ever explicitly stated, but was definitely inferred by the audience. That okay, when they're mimicking a humanoid, they're not mimicking everything.
They could.
Because even Odo has said he's like, I don't have a stomach.
Yeah, I remember him shapeshifting
Tried
a
eating
cup of
once.
coffee and stuff and all that kind of stuff. I do understand that. Now, however, our window into shapeshifting abilities has been with somebody who has not mastered the craft. Odo was nowhere near as
Correct.
good of a changeling as his peers,
Yeah.
so to speak, his brothers and sisters in the Great Link. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too nerdy. Maybe I'm being defensive over Deep Space Nine in some degree in my heart and in my head or something. But I don't know. I got it though. It's like Clayface from Batman. You know, it's just a surface transition, a surface change. I get it. It's making a Play-Doh thing. They constantly call this thing Clay-Doh, which I think is funny. Uh, oh God. But how many changelings are out there? Because they killed like 8 of them.
Yeah, and there was even one point in the last episode where they're like the changeling. I'm like, no, 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 no. We're past the.
Yeah.
It's like we've
Them
seen.
changelings is where it's at.
Yes, all y'all's.
All y'all's over there. All them alls. So I guess with this new ability, this ability to bleed, this ability to mimic the insides, this ability to not return to your liquid state upon death, comes with a level of weakness that the other changelings don't have. Because I can't think of any other changeling that was displayed in Deep Space Nine that was a one-shot death.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
They had to throw those bitches into warp cores.
Yeah,
You know, they had to get real creative because you couldn't just cut a head off or shoot them in the chest because they could just fix themselves.
yes.
I guess it comes with a level, but it's cool. I'm here for it. It's threatening. It's so threatening. What's a changeling? I'm afraid Crusher's a changeling, like Dr. Crusher. Is she a changeling? I hope not.
My suspicions are still there for Jack. At least, well, I'll just say it
something's
now.
going on.
I'm just going to say it now that I believe that Beverly used some kind of founder changeling technology on Jack at some point. And that may be why he is experiencing that. Yeah, exactly. We hear these callbacks, or come back to me. Why he's seen what he's seen. Why he doesn't look the right age that some people think.
Ooh, see, I didn't think of it. I mean, look at me just assuming it's weird casting when it could be plot the whole time. I mean, there's some sort of big secret to reveal. I don't know. Is he not really Picard's kid? Is he just a changeling? Is he just a changeling?
I'm leaning into hybrid right now, but we'll see.
Okay. Oh my god. I guess you would need to have like that half solid changeling to have even a hybrid, because I don't know how that would work otherwise.
If any current doctor is going to pull it off, my money would be on Beverly.
Gosh, I mean, there's so many wild speculations that could be made at this point with no evidence whatsoever. Only what I'm sure other people could come up with because they watch more interviews than I have. Excuse me. Halfway through.
It only expands the conspiracy theories.
My goodness. Prime Link and Gamma, Lost Link in the Alpha Orius. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at all this. Maddox, a changeling civil war. I don't know if it got that far. I think Worf would have found out that about a war rather than this rift that came about.
I'm wondering. I'm kind of wondering. What direction are we just never going to hear from the Gamma Quadrant changelings? And this is all about the ones in the Alpha Quadrant.
I don't know. Can they bring here's another thing. Here's another person that they might have worked. Is she still alive?
Salome?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't looked.
Because that changeling went into Federation prison at the end of Deep Space Nine.
Yes, but in Star Trek Online, they brought the character back. That particular changeling back. Oh gosh, I'm forgetting what it was, but it was to help. It was to help resolve another issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't looked.
She's still with us, but she is 87.
Okay.
So I don't know what the likelihood of that is, but that would be great because that was a great recurring character from Deep Space Nine, and somebody that would be perfectly story appropriate to bring back into the fold. So that would be fun.
We've had there was the recent passing of the most recent Borg Queen actress.
Yeah, but she was just on the previous season in Picard.
Yes, but we've had multiple Borg Queens. And every actress has done an amazing job. So,
and when you're a changeling, honestly, you could be any person and just be like,
different.
I'm the one that was there during the Dominion War.
I even saw someone mention about having, I think I don't know if is it Remy, Renee Aubergenois.
Oh yes.
I didn't have a chance to say it last time. But Renee's son. They're
said they were very reminiscent. In their looks.
So I've seen a lot of people, and it's like I understand people loved Odo, they loved Renee, and they would love to see him. We got the
you can have Odo's kid. You can have Odo's
exactly. It could be an offspring.
And he knows Auntie Kira. Still remains an important part of Odo's life and story. I would love the character to remain alive. I don't want them to announce that Odo has passed. I just want the character to just have found us happily ever after in the Great Link.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Odo can remain bound to the Great Link in the Gamma Quadrant, maintaining the integrity of the founders,
Yes.
and their moral compass,
Right.
and we can see
Yes.
another
Yes.
iteration.
So we got 5 whole episodes. They cram so much into each and every one of these that any number of things can happen. Any number of different directions can be taken. We've now married the two stories together that we've seen so far, Metalis Prime and what's been going on near the Nebula. And so I imagine in the next episode, we're going to link those two together, because at the end of this one, they were in communication with each other. What happened to Commander Rowe? She died. We're coming. All right, we're here on Metalis Prime. They're going to put Picard in a funny hat. And they're all going to figure out how to get into Daystrom together.
Obviously, that's where we're going.
They're going to show up, and then that's where we're going to get Angry Jordy from the previews, where he's like, "What are you doing here, Jean-Luc? You need to get out of here. I'm blind." You know how he does.
We'll see.
Yeah. I'm here for it, though. I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Uh-huh.
Is it Thursday yet? And I'm not talking about Critical Role. I'm talking about Star Trek. All right, guys, get back on the turbo lift. That was the 5th episode of Star Trek Picard Season 3, entitled Imposters. The question is, who is a changeling? I don't know. Could be everybody, could be nobody. Deep Space Nine, they're like, we're everywhere. But it turned out, when we found out in Homefront, they're like, how many changelings do you think we got on Earth, buddy? Cisco's like, I don't know. And he's like, 2. Would you believe we had 2? And look what y'all are doing. But clearly there's way more than 2, because they killed 8. All right, that's not right. There was 4 in the hallway, and then the one that was looking like LaForge, so it's only 5. And the 2
and we can also
away.
And why not? Let's throw species 8473 in there, and they're mimicking humans from Voyager.
Gosh,
so
yes. I'm not going to correct you. I'm going to let the comments scream at you for saying 8473 and not 8472.
I can't remember. I couldn't remember the number.
It was very close, though. Very close. Anyway, we're on the turbo lift. We're going back down to our personal quarters, where we're going to separate and go. I don't know. I need to come up with a thing, because at the end of the soap podcast, I say go spend some time with your families, but not this time. I'm going to say go watch some Star Trek, because there's a lot of it. Until next time, I'm Matt.
And I'm Matt.
And we'll get you next time right here on Deck 10. Bye.
Bye.